Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo, host of Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 13 of our Back to School Month special here. We're doing in the month of September 2022, 30 days of September. We're all picking out our 30 favorite albums of our high school years, right? So those 30 albums that you listened to the most during your last 4 years of school before you went away to college or university or to the military or started working or whatever it is you did after you graduated, right? Those last 4 years, in my case, my age 14 to 18, my high school years 1980 to 1984. So depending on whenever your 4 years were, what were those 30 albums that you listened to the most, that you loved the most during your high school years? Because of course those high school years very, very important to us in the development of the type of music that we like. And in many cases, a lot of those albums that we really grew to love back then still are very special to us today, and that is absolutely still the case with me. So I've assembled my list. I've gone through 12 of them already. Today is day number 13. This particular album, released here in the States April 16th, 1984, came out in the UK in January of that same year. It was originally on the Geffen Warner Brothers label here in the States, and I believe Japan, but Liberty Records and the rest of the world, produced by Martin Birch. Of course, I am talking about the sixth studio album from the band Whitesnake. Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. Slide it in, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. This was, believe it or not, the first Whitesnake album I ever bought, which is kind of strange because I was already a Deep Purple fan from '84, at least 4 or 5 years, okay, by this point. And I was already, well aware of David Coverdale and his work on the three Deep Purple albums, right? Of course, Burn, Stormbringer, Come Taste the Band. But for whatever reason, here in the States, Whitesnake were not really much of anything. They definitely were a band that made a much bigger impact over in the UK and Europe. But here in the States, they rarely toured here. You didn't often see a lot of their albums in the racks. I don't remember seeing them at all, to be honest with you, before this one came out. They weren't played on the radio here. No videos that were played here, so it's like they really had an extremely low profile here, which I know bothered Mr. Coverdale quite a bit. He really tried to, make a play into the U.S. market starting right around this time. So here, of course, you have probably, one of the great lineups of this band. Coverdale on vocals. You got Mel Galley. And for the U.S. version, John Sykes on guitar. Mickey Moody was still in the band when they released it. There were the two different versions of the album, right? You got Mickey Moody and Galley for the UK version, Sykes and Galley for the U.S. version. You got Neil Murray on bass, John Lord on keyboards, and the great Cozy Powell on drums. And of course, not long after this was released, John, of course, goes back to the Deep Purple reunion for Perfect Strangers. Cozy leaves not long after this as well. Neil Murray leaves. So it's kind of like this album comes out. It could have been one of the great touring lineups of all time. Mel Galley gets hurt in his hand, and so all of a sudden you're basically left with just Coverdale, Neil Murray, Sykes, and Cozy. And then after that tour, it kind of splinters again. And of course, then they go, a few years later, and they go do the '87 album. And by then, it's just basically Coverdale and Sykes, and let's put together a new band. And so, it's just a lot of turmoil in the Whitesnake camp throughout the '80s, of course. But, prior to this album, again, such a great band. Those early, the 5 albums that came before this, all excellent. I love that early bluesy Whitesnake as well. I like all lineups of Whitesnake. Just a really, truly special band for me. But back to this album. So this album comes out not long before I graduated high school. So, of course, I graduated in June of 1984, so this came out just a couple months before. But, man, I played this constantly. This was such a big deal back in early 1984. I remember hearing Slow and Easy on the radio, then seeing the video, and before you know it, you're starting to, the Slide It In is being played a lot. Love Ain't No Strangers playing a lot. The band then starts to come around on tour. But just love the production of this. Love it's kind of the album's kind of heavy, but it's just really bluesy, really classy, well produced. Slide it in, slow and easy. Love Ain't No Stranger 3, great songs to kick off the U.S. version of this. All or Nothing, great heavy rocking song. Gambler, such a good kind of darker bluesy rocker. Guilty of Love, big and uplifting. Hungry for Love, down dirty, kind of raunchy. Give Me More Time is just very melodic. You got Spit It Out, a snarling hard rocker, and then the great Standing in the Shadow. Just one classic song after another. It's funny, we've talked about this quite a bit, or I've talked about it quite a bit on the channel, about how one of my favorite albums of all time is the self-titled 1987 album from Whitesnake. But I've been saying in recent memory that this album is quickly starting to become my favorite Whitesnake album. I think it finally has done that. Even though, the self-titled 87 album, like I said, has been one of my favorite albums ever since 87. But I think whether it's, I just think that this album now, all these years later, I find start to finish just pretty much unbeatable. I mean, it's so consistent all the way through. And while I still love the 87 album, I do, and there's a couple tracks on there I probably have heard way too much. And I find I don't listen to that album much anymore like I used to, even though I still love it. And I still, a handful of tracks on there to me are just absolutely insanely good. I just find this to me these days is a stronger listen all the way through, and I think that this era of the band, this and the older stuff, just obviously as I get older appeals to me even more and more and more. So so that is my pick for today, day 13. Slide it in right to the top, baby. Just love the song. Love the song, love the album, so great, love the band. One of my favorite bands of all time. So let us know what you think of Slide It In the comments below from 1984. But also pick your day 13, your number 13 pick for whatever your high school years are. Put that down in the comments below, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 14, right? So visit us on the web at www.seeyoutranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please hit that like button before you leave. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. We also have the links down below in the video description to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page where you can get all sorts of cool See You Tranquility stuff, including now we have our 4 most popularly bought shirts are now available on Amazon. There is a direct link to get them at Amazon at a greatly reduced rate, at a big discount. So if you've been kind of on the fence about getting some Sea of Tranquility shirts for your shirt collection, maybe now's the time to do that while the sale is going on. So again, that link is below, and hope to see you all in a couple weeks at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York for Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest. Pat Travers Band, Vanilla Fudge, Nectar, Sonus Umbra, Epic Tantrum, Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash, Chris Caffrey from Sabotage, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra, plus live on stage in the Prague Seat, the Hudson Valley Squares, and myself and Martin Popoff. That's all happening October 1st at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York. It's an all-day event, so please consider coming out to Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest. Tickets are available now at the Chance website, as well if you live here in the Hudson Valley and you frequent Rock Fantasy. Steve Keeler also is selling tickets at Rock Fantasy, so if you want to just pop in and get yourself a ticket or two, or however many of you are coming. So hope to see you all then, and we'll see you tonight on In the Prague Seat. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Pete Pardo. Bye-bye.